Hey, what's going on, you guys? As you can see, it's kind of a dark and gloomy day here in Blackhawk, Colorado, so it sounds like a perfect time for me to sit on my ass for hours on end and play some poker indoors where it's safe. It was kind of a frustrating session for me at 1-3 here at Bally's, but either way, I enjoyed it, and I hope you guys liked the video. Consider commenting and subscribing. I appreciate it, and enjoy. Okay, so I start things off at a pretty miserable table here at Bally's. I look down at 8-8. The game was just way too tight and not super fun. Action was weak. But this one starts off with an early position player raising things up to $10. The middle position player also makes the call. I decide I want to try to isolate the early position raiser. He's kind of a wild card. I've seen him try to punt, and I'm happy to catch those punts. I raise it up to $45, and the initial raiser snap calls, and to my surprise, so does the other guy. So we're going three ways in a 3-bet pot with about $135 in the middle, and the cards come out Queen, 5, 6, Rainbow. And at this point, I can see the other player, the guy I was trying to isolate, stack his chips up, and it looks like he's ready to just stick it in the middle. Unfortunately, I didn't notice this real time for some reason, and I still decided to c-bet out for about $60, maybe $70. I'm not exactly sure what it was, but something like that. And like I said, the player snap jams, which is a little unfortunate because I have an underpair to the board. Action's back on me after the other guy folds. It's only 70 more, maybe 60 more. I hate money, and I just can't make myself fold for that price, even though I'm probably drawing dead to 2 8s or whatever it is. The board runs out, brick. He announces a queen. I give him the classic nod. You're good. I'm terrible at poker. And he takes down this pot, and I lose the first big one of the night. Okay, so keeping the ball rolling downwards here, I look down at a premium ace-king offsuit. There's an $11 button straddle on, and when two people make the call, I decided it's time to bump it up here. I make it big. I make it $55 to go. Surprisingly, the button straddler makes the call, and everybody else folds. This is the same dude who I just doubled up in the last hand, and like I mentioned earlier, he was never folding pre-flop, and he's punting, but I'm punting to him more, honestly. So we'll see what happens. Maybe we can double him up again if we are lucky. The pot is about $130, and we see a flop of Jack 9 King Rainbow. So pretty connected board, but I can't complain hitting top against this wild opponent who could have any two. I c-bet for about $60, similarly to last time. And just like last time, he instantly jams on me. I have the short stack now, so with about only $100 more, I think it just makes sense to call, this time with top pair at least. Unfortunately, this dude's just much better than me at poker because he announces nuts as he flips over King 10 offsuit for the flop straight. I'm basically dead here. The turn and river, surprisingly, are both bricks. This dude takes the rest of our stack, and it's time to click the rebuy button. So we are in for 800 total now, and hopefully we can get our money back. So obviously I can't beat this guy, so I'm going to try to pick on some OMCs at the table. And at this point, I haven't played any significant hands in a while. I'm in the middle of eating my quote-unquote free dinner, but it actually cost me a $400 bullet for one cheeseburger, so basically free. Either way, I look down at deuce after essentially the entire table limps to me. I'm in the big blind, and I probably should be raising big here, but I figure no one's going to fold to me, and I just decide to check my option and set mine. Set mining becomes successful when the flop comes deuce 8 ace Rainbow. I have bottom set, and I check. The tightest player at the table to my left bets, making it $15, which means at minimum she has ace queen. And yes, she's the type of player who would limp ace king. When action folds back to me, I decide on a raise. I make it $40 to go. She doesn't think too long before making the call. The turn is the most amazing turn card in the deck. It's an ace. So now I have a boat, and I'm almost positive that the villain has ace queen, ace king type hands that are just never folding. So I'm trying to get stacks in. I bet out for $70, and again, she makes the call. In my head, I'm rooting for a 2 for quads, but honestly, that was a little too greedy, and the poker gods decide to make a funny joke and bring out the 8, double pairing the board, essentially counterfeiting my boat here. This is the absolute worst card. All ace X's are top boat. I have the worst hand here almost 100% of the time. I was planning on overbet jamming almost any river, except for this one. I shut down, I check it over. She bets 35, something super small, and I frustratingly show her and the dealer my hand in order to gain some sympathy from these two women. Unfortunately, all I get is a snap show of ace-king suited and a wow, I'm really lucky. So this was a frustrating one to lose, but there's a lot more poker to be played. and maybe I'll win a hand. Okay, so maybe it is time to start winning some hands here. So when I look down at Queen King offsuit, I raise it up to 12 bucks and only the big blind makes the call. The flop comes 8-7 deuce rainbow, so I completely miss here, and it's definitely a board that would be better for the person who didn't raise, which was not me. So I decide to check it back. The turn comes a bink queen, so now I probably have the best hand here. But the big blind checks once again, and now I decide to make a delayed c-bet for about $15. The big blind is a non-believer, sensing some weakness on the check back, I assume on the flop. He decided to go for the classic check raise and make it $65 to go, hopefully winning the pot right now. This player is a younger, aggressive player. Pretty strong line from this guy, but honestly, I think he has a lot of check raises with air in his repertoire. So I just make the call, and the pot is now about $155. The river is a brick deuce. I'm mentally prepared to snap off most bets here, but the villain decides to shut it down and checks to me. Honestly, I debate the check back, but I end up going for some value. I bet 65. Unfortunately, no more value to be had, and the big blinds snap mucks. But hey, at least we win our first pot of the night. So for this next one, the table dynamic has definitely changed. Most people have left. It's only four-handed, and the game is pretty weak. There's a couple strong players, a couple weak players. Everyone's just insta-folding to any aggression. It's very hard to get paid. Not very splashy. So when I look down at 3-3 in first position, I decide to just limp and see what action comes. I think I could be betting. I think I could be folding this hand a lot of the time. But four-handed, I honestly wasn't super sure what to do. So when in doubt, I limped it out. It folds to the button, who makes it $15 to go, and I am the only caller. The flop comes above average for me. It's 8-3-8, so I flopped a boat. I check, and the initial raiser c-bets to $15. And I think I could do a lot of raising here, but my hand is so strong that I don't want to spring my trap just yet. So I just make the call. With about $60 in the middle, the turn card is a 9. So not terrible, though I am now specifically losing to 8-9. I check again, and the button bets around half pot, $30. I decide it's time to raise. I make it $75 to go. And in hindsight, I wish I made this a little bit bigger, something like $100. I think a big leak in my game is not check raising large enough, but either way, the button makes the call. The pot is about $210 now, and the river is an ace. This doesn't really change much. I think it's time for me to bet for value. I bet about a half pot sizing, hoping to get called really light, about $115. The villain tanks and thankfully ends up making the call. I insta-show, he flashes a 9, and I win this $440 pot. So things are definitely moving in the correct direction. So after that last hand, I have about $650 in my stack. I'm only stuck around $150, so we're obviously clawing our way back to the green. The table is still shorthanded, and when I look down at pocket kings in early position, I'm feeling real good about it, obviously. I raise it up to $12. Folds around to the big blind, who decides $12 is enough. He raises me up to 45 bucks. I'm loving life here. I'm very happy to see this, obviously, and I make a very comfortable 4-bet up to $125. The big blind then decides to just make the call. With about $250 in the middle, the flop comes 9-6 deuce rainbow. So a board that's not going to connect with either of our ranges. Fine with me with a nice overpair. Villain checks to me, and I make a standard c-bet of $100, a little over half pot. Things then get a little interesting when the big blind takes a moment and then jams for his remaining $325 stack. This is a pretty young, aggressive player that I mentioned earlier, and I'm confident he would have 5-bet jammed on me with aces. So I'm really only losing to flop sets. So not much to think about here. I snap call, and thankfully he instantly says I'm good. Assuming he had some hand like ace, queen, ace, king. Board runs out clean, and I scoop this $900 pot. And shortly after this one, I count my blessings. I am in the green. I have a small profit, and I get the hell out of Bally's. What's up, guys? I hope you enjoyed the video. Sorry, it's been 2 weeks since my last upload. Things have been kind of crazy at work. It's finally starting to slow down a little bit, so I'm going to try to be much more consistent with some weekly uploads, at least for the coming month or two. Hopefully I can stick to that. We'll see. Game was a little frustrating for me, but I ended on a high note, so can't complain there. I was in for 800, out for 1,050, so just about a profit of 250. So for a couple hours, not too bad. I'm not going to complain. I just got out of there as quickly as I could. On a much sadder note, I just wanted to say rest in peace to the legend, Doyle Brunson. What an inspiration to the poker community. This book, Super Systems, was actually the first poker book I ever read. So had a huge impact on my poker career and my poker life, I guess. So just my thoughts and prayers go out to him and his family. And yeah, we lost a legend this weekend, and definitely a sad time. Other than that, guys, I appreciate you guys watching the video. As always, like I said, hopefully I'll be posting more consistently from this point on. I'm still having a lot of fun with it, so I don't plan on stopping anytime soon. And yeah, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace out, guys.